Hello, good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me on the third day of this conference. I can imagine there could be too much of an information overload, and one would want to possibly take a break. So I hope you had that break in the night. Q. So I see a few people who are very inspiring sitting here. And my name is Sameera, as we all know, and today I'm going to talk about not really the problem of sleep, PCOS, or stress, but really the framework. I see that there is a lot of knowledge accumulated in this room, and it would be very naive of me to talk about how it happens, why it happens, etc. But it makes more, there is merit in thinking that it'll be more impactful if we know the solution and how to create the frameworks around it. I made this last minute change, so if ever my slides are not that coordinating, please excuse me. Back in Philippines, where I stay, I'm an Indian, but I stay in Philippines. We have a culture of showing the journey. Usually that would involve my kids and my cats. I don't know if that's there, but that's me right now. I joined Optum, it's there on that board, as a learning and development head in Philippines, and later realized that I'd rather be better on the other side of the table, and moved towards my journey of working with corporates, individuals, NGOs, and other institutions to create a beautiful framework that I use. And I'm going to share that with you. That's a little bit about me, and I will take that away. All right. This is the expanse of my organization right now in terms of allocation of my clients and the kind of work that we've been able to spread. Now, why we've been able to do that cross-culture is the reason why I thought I'll share the framework. All right. It's very interesting to know that we are so many of us and we still want to procreate, right? And therefore, one would like to know, why is that so? Now, the thing is that our society's evolved. We realize it's expensive to have kids. It's also restricting to have them. But our brains didn't. Our brains still feel connection, intimacy, need for security, legacy, and therefore we want to procreate. And why is it a concern? It's a concern, one would say that, there are too many populations or countries that have less people. But actually the bigger concern is that today the burden of non-functional, diverse, neurodiverse people, children is increasing. Therefore, it's important not only to have kids, but actually to have healthy kids for the economies to grow. PCOS, of course, is an epidemic behind the modern infertility. Now, for women, there are two stories that are going on. One, that everybody sees in terms of how she behaves, how she shows up, how she works. And the other one is a silent story. The silent story is of the trauma, the grief, the hormonal imbalance, and a lot of other things that are going on. The infertility is a result of the quiet story. Here is the impact. Well, there's a huge list of it, and again, this is a knowledge space, so I'm not going to, put that. It's so sweet of you guys to come. Thank you. So I'm not going to put a lot of pressure on that because we all know what's the impact of hormones. It's such a knowledgeable audience. Here's the statistics, which is important. So 6 to 13% of the diagnosed people, which amounts for 104 million women in their reproductive age, are going through what is called the polycystic ovary syndrome, and which is also the number one reason for infertility in these women. Okay? Again, I'm not going in the knowledge bit. Well, what happens when you have this neurohormonal endocrinal disorder is in front of you right now. I'm going to talk about the neuro and the psychological space. So in terms of the psychological space, when my hormones are high and I have a lot of androgens going in my body, my reactivity, the brain's reactivity to the world and normal things becomes hyper. When I'm hyper-reactive to something that's normal for you, I am more anxious than the normal person. When I am more anxious than others, I tend to create, well, maybe not those great decisions. When I do not create great decisions, I don't get great results. When I don't get great results, I become even more anxious. And the cycle continues. Now, here on the surface, it looks very simple. Just don't be that anxious. But I'm predisposed, just like IBS. My body is predisposed now to be more anxious, to be hyperactive, and to be extremely impulsive. Therefore, figuring out that, one could always work on the symptoms and try to get the symptoms work, and the things will get okay. My organization and my team decided that we are going to create a design which we'll put in all women-related problems. And here are the designing pillars. We mapped the problem across ages, cultures, communities, countries, keeping in mind the population, the needs, and the importance of certain variables. We did the literature synthesis based on the countries we were working in. We did a pattern recognition, framework development, and implemented our pilots. We also kept in mind to have a return on investment and impact measurement. Here are the findings. Well, apart from the psychological tools and the statistical findings, I find the ones over here to be extremely interesting. Our research suggests that daughters of women with PCOS appear to show a higher predisposition towards emotionally unstable or disrupted romantic relationships in adulthood. So you're not only talking about a woman who has PCOS, you're also talking about her daughter, her family of someone else. Our research shows that marriages involving women with PCOS appear to be at a higher risk of separation and divorce compared to population averages. Divorce and separation are considered to be the second most traumatic life events. I've had people, I've met them in many transition phases of their lives, and divorce never leaves you. Women with PCOS experience miscarriage rates ranging from 30 to 50%, nearly double that of a general population. Each miscarriage increases the family burden by an estimated 18 to 32% due to medical interventions. That's a huge burden for a family. So this is not a woman's problem. This is not a family problem. It's a community problem. It's a country's problem. Again, knowledge slide. I'll just quickly mention how is the HPA axis also is, overlapping the HPO axis. where when my cortisol increases, because I have PCOS, it's increasing because I have a hormonal imbalance. So cortisol stays in my body for a longer time. Let's say, if I say something mean to you, you don't have PCOS, and mean to you, and you have PCOS, you will think more about it. And what also means, it will stay more about it, it'll go deep down more about it, and you'll be always predisposed about it. What we call repeated trauma. Well, what we thought as a solution after we did, our design work through the pillars was on the basis of working on our habit access, modeling, pathfinding, empowering, and then aligning the women or the communities that we would want to. I'm going to just leave you with this slide for a moment. Okay. Now, the way we did this is that we created partnerships with countries, with hospitals, with communities, and NGOs to define and do the problem mapping that is there for, let's say, the women. And after that, we created what is called intensive journaling workshop, because we did not want to just fly away. We wanted them to have something with them. And at this point in time, my organization is actively working towards these 3 journals that you see in front of you. 3 of them are based on, the first one is based on PCOS and infertility. It goes deep down into stress and sleep. The second one is based on the inner childhood trauma, and the third is on cancer. Here is our impact dashboard. And some of the very good offers that we were able to come up with that helps you to understand how you can improve your program or customize your program throughout the countries. Some references. And well, I'm all set for the questions. Thank you very much, guys. Hi, darling.
Thank you very much. This is such a well-needed conversation. And I also help with women with PCOS, and PCOS is such a under talked about condition, because it's a silent condition. Because of the fact is, with endometriosis, you actually have the physical pain, but a lot of the women with PCOS do carry lots of emotional baggage. So in your experience, and especially when you're talking about your statistics, is there, do you find the common factors with these women in the fact that they really, because I find that the insulin resistance and diabetes risk is also very, very high with them.
Yes, indeed. That's because the same part, the same hormonal system is also decreasing their insulin resistance. If the question is, do I see a pattern only in their hormones or in their physical checkup? Yes. But if the question is, do I see a pattern in their psychological makeup as well? Yes. Most of the women I've worked with who've had PCOS have shown the following behavioral, let's say, models or patterns. Most of them are going through or have had a big trauma in their lives. Like I said, if you have PCOS, your predisposition to any instance will be higher and more intense.
I'm not sure if you've explored this, because I find it very interesting. Being South Asian, the South Asian community are more susceptible for diabetes. So have you found also that the levels of PCOS in South Asian women are slightly higher than non-women of color?
You mean the frequency of finding it?
Yeah.
The reason behind that is not, I believe, the South Asian component. The reason behind it is that the women of color would usually not really get themselves checked so easily for something like insulin resistance, or they would not sort of relate it to what's really happening to their menstruation. So one has to do that in the practice.
Oh, that's
but not really. It's not going to come out really without being exploring it or asking about it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I really enjoyed this presentation.
Thank you so much. It was quick. Anything else, guys?
Any further questions? Okay, one more question.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So in my clinic, we do a lot with nutrition first and then parasympathetic reset in order for them to be able to balance. So we have a huge success rate. The vast majority of our PCOS patients have, I'm sorry, I'm up here. The vast majority of our PCOS patients have children. And they don't suffer high rates of miscarriage once they come into the clinic. But the very first thing we actually have to deal with is their nutrition. Sleep regulation comes into it once we get into the parasympathetic reset model that we use. But two different things, right? Genetic predisposition is first addressed, then nutrition, then we deal with the reset of the parasympathetic.
It's a question.
My question is that when you are moving through these communities, what are you seeing as the biggest factor and whether or not they're successful in resolving their issue?
The issue of
PCOS.
having children and a high birth rate, or the issue of eliminating PCOS symptoms?
Eliminating PCOS, because oftentimes PCOS is misdiagnosed because the pituitary is not properly tested.
So PCOS.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So, and the question is, what have I noticed in different cultures, and as to what helps to eliminate PCOS?
Correct. To rule
Okay.
out
Thank
that
you so
they
much.
actually
Thank you so much. That simplifies the question. PCOS, I don't believe can be eliminated. It can be managed. It can be managed because it's, again, a genetic and endocrinal condition. And one will have to work towards keeping that part of their body in awareness to be able to manage it. So in all the cultures, what I've noticed is that's what has worked for me.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions? All right, thank you.